At the end of life on this planet, three things will remain: cockroaches, Twinkies, and Hillary Clinton. So, no surprise, in a new poll, when Americans are asked what word best describes her, they scream liar, followed by dishonest, then untrustworthy. So as the love for Biden starts to widen, is it time to pillory Hillary? She's already begun the charm offensive.
Hillary Clinton has been in the spotlight for decades, and no matter what people think of her, one thing she's always managed to project is control. But at this moment, that armor cracked. On live television, Greg Gutfeld went at her with a political jab.
She's back like a sore on a porn star's lip.
Ew.
Complaining on X about Trump cleaning up D.C., she says, quote, "On one hand, Republican officials call themselves war fighters. On the other, they become whiny crybabies at the thought of setting foot in D.C. streets and New York City subways that literal school children navigate every day without incident. Real macho stuff." Then she got off social media and returned to moving a body to a park.
Not long before Gutfeld's takedown, Hillary Clinton mocked Republicans as whiny crybabies, saying they were scared to walk the streets of Washington, D.C. or ride the New York City subway. She added that school kids use those subways every single day without incident. To her, it was a clever dig, paint her political rivals as weak while boosting her own sense of toughness. But that's exactly where Gutfeld pushed back. He brought up the reality of New York's subway system, asking whose kids does she think are riding these trains? Because the stories making headlines weren't about safe commutes. They were about violent assaults, people getting stabbed, random attacks that made even longtime residents nervous. Gutfeld highlighted that disconnect, Clinton painting a rosy picture of safety, while the act of the subway has become a symbol of urban chaos.
He's pretending that the people that are trying to reduce crime, that are doing it for themselves, because she's only used to doing things for herself.
That mismatch is what gave his roast its punch. Clinton was trying to frame Republicans as cowards, but Gutfeld made her sound completely detached from reality. He mocked the idea that anyone could hold up the New York subway as a model of safety in 2024, pointing out that it's exactly the kind of place politicians' kids are protected and normal families deal with the dangers. It was a reality check delivered with a smirk. And then came Clinton's own reaction, which made things worse. Instead of doubling down or laughing it off, she quietly disabled the comments on her post. That might seem like a small move, but in politics, it's huge. Comments are the digital version of facing the crowd. By shutting them off, Clinton sent the message that she couldn't handle the criticism. She wanted to throw the punch, but not take one back. To the public, that looked fragile. It looked like the exact opposite of the toughness she was trying to project with the post in the first place.
It takes a real issue, which is crime affecting the citizens of D.C., and makes it about these war fighters being whiny crybabies, like it's big, whiny men.
Yeah.
This is where Gutfeld's attack really worked. The sting wasn't just the facts about crime or the holes in her subway brag. It was a comedy. He knew how to frame her words in a way that made them ridiculous. And here's the thing, Clinton has dealt with political criticism for decades. In that arena, she knows how to throw the spotlight on her opponents. But comedy doesn't give her that space. Comedy is quick and leaves no room to maneuver. That's why she looked like a deer on an ice rink, sliding around with no footing. Comedy takes the seriousness she's built her career on and turns it against her. Once people are laughing, she loses control of the frame. That's devastating for someone who's spent decades trying to project inevitability. The idea that she's always the smartest person in the room and always in command.
Her logic makes no sense, but why would she say it? You know, I mean, we can't just keep saying TDS. It's something else. It is. I think they're ego-damaged people.
Yeah.
Right? Doesn't make any sense.
And Gutfeld's roast didn't just stop at her latest post. It carried the weight of her entire past. People didn't need a refresher on her scandals. Mishandling classified information, brushing off accountability, polls showing the word most associated with her was liar. All of that history was sitting in the background. His jokes worked because they tapped into what the public already suspected about her, that she bends reality to suit herself and then acts shocked when people don't buy it. That's why this wasn't just about one bad post. It was about decades of baggage that Gutfeld exposed in seconds. And when she tried to push back later, hoping to claw back some credibility, it only highlighted how badly she'd been cornered.
Hillary, she uses the phrase, what was it? I wrote it down here, handmaiden to the patriarchy, which I think she means she's bashing Monica Lewinsky. I'm not sure. But this only is appealing to an ever-shrinking circle of feminist women, the same who bow to the altar of trans men and keep silent when real women are victimized by really bad men. But again, it's another assigned opinion that's lazily presented, men against women. Whether it's race or gender, as long as you pit one group against the other, they won't look up at you. And this is how the Democrat Party survives, is they want everybody to fight each other over their specific group rather than fight over an idea, because once you look at the ideas, you leave the party.
Right. When Hillary Clinton reemerged after her failed 2016 run, she tried to frame it as a moment of resilience. She said she was ready to come out of the woods, signaling she was prepared to return to public life. For her, it was meant to sound like strength and recovery, but Greg Gutfeld saw an opening and he took it. Instead of treating her comeback as a serious political revival, he turned it into comedy fodder. He compared her return to the bird flu announcing a comeback. In other words, nobody wanted it, nobody asked for it, and most people would rather it stay gone. Then he twisted the knife further, joking it was like McDonald's relaunching the Arch Deluxe, a fast food disaster that failed in the 90s and is only remembered as a marketing punchline. These comparisons landed because they cut through the way Clinton wanted to be seen. She wanted her return to feel important, like history calling her back. Instead, Gutfeld reduced it to something absurd, something outdated, and something the public would rather forget.
Hillary 2024. Elect me or I will write another book. Hillary 2028. If the pantsuit still fits, you must not quit. Hillary 2036. Even more cyborg than the original. Hillary 2052. I may be 106, but I still got it. Hillary 2060. I drank unicorn blood and will live forever. Worship me, mortals.
That's the real damage here. Clinton has always tried to position herself as a political heavyweight. For decades, she projected inevitability, someone destined to lead, someone too big to fail. But by the time of Gutfeld's roast, that aura was gone. She wasn't seen as a looming force in politics anymore. She was a familiar name that kept popping back up in headlines, not because people were waiting for her next move, but because comedians and commentators found her too easy to mock. That's why Gutfeld's jokes landed so hard. They exposed the gap between how Clinton still wants to be perceived and how the public actually sees her now. She isn't the untouchable figure she once was. She's become a punchline writers keep recycling because the material almost writes itself. And that set the stage for the final twist of the knife, her new academic role at Columbia University. Clinton tried to use that position as a way to restore prestige. Teaching at an Ivy League school should have given her an air of authority and respect. It was her chance to step back into the spotlight with credibility. But once again, reality didn't match the script she was trying to write for herself. Reports came out that students were unimpressed with her class, describing it as uninspiring and even disappointing. Instead of reinforcing her legacy, it raised questions about why she was there in the first place. Gutfeld seized on this too. He reframed her not as a respected professor, but as the unwilling court jester, someone desperate to hold on to control, but constantly reduced to the punchline. Even in a classroom where she should have been the authority, she ended up mocked. And, just to underline it, Gutfeld closed with a Bill Clinton joke about no cigar tutoring, a direct callback to the scandals that will always shadow her.
Remember, if she runs again, she probably won't win. So the best thing for Hillary haters is to hope she runs again and again and again. She's the political version of a cold sore. Even when it clears up, it always returns, usually when you're about to go to Club Med.
At the end of the day, what happened here wasn't just another heated exchange between a politician and a critic. It was bigger than that. This was a cultural takedown, the kind that shows how comedy can sometimes cut deeper than policy debates or long investigations. Greg Gutfeld didn't need charts, polls, or talking points. He just needed punchlines. And those were enough to make Hillary Clinton look smaller than she's ever looked on a public stage. And that leaves us with a real question. Was this the moment where Hillary finally unraveled in front of everyone? Or is it just one more embarrassing chapter in a career already filled with them? Either way, it proves that once the jokes start sticking, there's no easy way back. If you want more sharp breakdowns like this, where we look at the biggest political meltdowns and the moments that expose them, make sure you hit subscribe and stay tuned for our next videos.